Hey, Kamga speaking. A quick announcement before we jump into today's episode. I don't know if you know about this, but this podcast is fully self funded at the moment. If you've ever enjoyed any episode of the podcast or gotten any value from me from my writing, YouTube, whatever, you'll know that this is something I really enjoy doing and I want to do it for the rest of my life. Especially because I get to explore other people's stories and create a living archive for creatives around the world. And this is great, except it costs money. I've had to shut down my personal website and the original podcast host, and I'll be using mostly YouTube now and SoundCloud to make sure the podcast stays on iTunes and the other platforms. If you'd love to know how you can help me out with this, later on in this episode, I talk about the people just like you who have supported me financially on Patreon to even be able to keep SoundCloud itself. So, stay tuned to hear more, but if you're in a hurry, read the description of this episode to get the gist. Cool? Cool. Let's go.
At that point, honestly, there's nothing you can do because you're living under somebody's roof. You're not really that independent. You don't have a stable job. So it's like you don't have a choice than to succumb. So I had to forget about myself and just do these things so that it could make them happy for now.
Yo, my name is Kamga Tchassa and you're listening to the Loving Creative Podcast. This is a podcast I wish I had when I was a young creative living in Cameroon. On this show, my goal is to find out one not so simple answer to a question. Is it possible to live a happy, full life as a creative? This is a living archive for creatives all around the world, filled with personal stories from writers, YouTubers, makeup artists, parents, friends at various levels of their individual creative journeys. Now that I live in the US, I have access to tools I never had, and I intend to fight Steven Pressfield's resistance to bring wonderful, inspiring stories from people whose lives are exceptional in their own way. They don't have all the answers. Neither do I. But one thing they'll get you to do is to sit up and say, if they could do it, then I could too. Everyone's story matters. This is a show where we find out what it takes to succeed as a creative by hearing stories from others just like you. Ready? Let's get into the show. Samuella Demanou is a bright star. Few weeks after we met online, I gave her the nickname Special One because of how her writing made me feel. We've been reading each other for years and finally got our longest conversation in the form of this very podcast. On this episode, we talk about her journey up until when she moved to Canada and how her life changed when she got there, how she had to stop her education for 1 year because of her immigration process, the battles she fought with herself and her family in 2016, how she found herself channeling her heart into her writing, especially poetry. And then we also talk about the time when she almost got deported from Canada. Plus, why she thinks therapy is a good idea. You can connect with Sammy on the links to her YouTube channel, her Medium where she writes a lot, and Twitter where she often shares everything from her blogs and the other platforms. And you can find all those links, of course, in the description. I'm very grateful to Sammy. Sammy, I know you're listening to this. I want to thank you again for giving me so much value in this episode. I think I would like for you, dear listener, to listen to her wisdom. So let's jump right in. Anyway, before getting into a pigeon class, let's into the business at hand. So, Samuel, thank you so much for accepting to be a guest, a chatting partner.
Thank you for having me.
And we're going to kick off where we always kick off, which is where did you grow up and how did that end up affecting the kind of work that you do today? So, walk us through your story. Somebody who is listening who has no idea how cool you are, this is a chance for you to show them.
Okay, so my name is Demanou Samuella. I'm from a family of 7. I'm like the third and the first at the same time. It's a complicated story, but yeah, I have 2 other sisters. So my mom had 2 kids. She was married before she met my dad.
Okay.
And her first husband died, then she met my dad, and I'm my father's first boy. Okay. Then I have 4 younger ones, 1 brother, and 6 sisters.
Where did you grow up?
I am a francophone, basically. Like both my parents are from the West region, where both Bamilikis. And Chang. I'm Chang. My mother is Bafu and my brother is Balavan. So I am a Chang. I'm a Chang, pure Chang girl.
Nice.
Yeah. So but I spent most of my schooling or life in Yaoundé. Like I literally don't know Douala. I was living in Yaoundé. We went into an all English school. That's why I'm really bilingual, both French and English. Did primary school in Yaoundé, did secondary school in Bamenda in Luots. That's a boarding school. From one to lower seat. I finished my upper seat in Yaoundé in DCB Link, Dugebe. And then I went to Guayaquil for 1 year. And I had the opportunity to come to Canada in 2013. And I've been here since. So it's been 6 years.
Okay.
Yeah,
And we found each other through the internet. Actually, we've never met. This is like the first.
exactly.
It's going to be the longest conversation we've had, even though we've had a lot of chats in whether it's WhatsApp or
Yes.
messaging. And I think, if I'm not wrong, we met when I was still writing on Kamga as a blog. That was like,
Yeah, that's what we meant.
yeah. So one thing that brought us together was really a love for writing. I think writing about love, basically. And
Mm-hmm.
you've changed a lot in the past 6 years since you're in Canada, and I'm really hoping that you can share with me how start from even being in Guayaquil. What did you study in Guayaquil?
Biochemistry. I did biochemistry.
Biochemistry. I also did biochemistry.
Yeah. But I
So,
did the sciences, so for me it was just like the middle part. Like I didn't just want to jump into medicine like that, so I had to do something in the middle. Biochemistry was like the combination of both. I said, yeah, let me just start from there, then I'll see where it takes me to. So I did. I actually finished my first year before traveling,
okay.
and I came here. When I came here, I studied computer science. I just finished. When did I finish? Like end of May, yeah, the 17th of May, I did my last presentation and I'll be graduating in October. God,
Congratulations.
thank you. After 6 years now, it has been something else. No, it's been something else, honestly. It's not easy. I think many people have to understand the reality of, first of all, traveling and where to, the laws and how everything works, immigration and stuff, because just immigration alone literally made me to stop school for a whole year because of my papers. And
Wow.
it's not something, yeah, for a
Can
whole
you
year I
go
couldn't
deeper in that?
study.
I'd like to understand what happened that for 1 year you could not go to school.
Okay.
I think if you can take us from Guayaquil, like I feel that there's this aspect of moving that
Mm-hmm.
almost everybody who has moved has had to deal with visas and application and all that. How
Yeah.
was that for you from the time you were in Yaoundé? Did you know you were going to leave before you left? Was it something that you were looking forward to? How was it all for you?
No, honestly, I'll say I'm very blessed because I had no idea I was going to travel. Like when I finished secondary school and went to Itugebe, for me, I was just like living my life like I would stay in Cameroon. In June, my mom just like woke me up, come, let's go. We're making your papers to travel. I was like, huh? I had no idea because I have another sister here. She's married. She has 5 kids. And so she and her husband decided to help us out and bring somebody. And since I'm the first, I had to be the first person to cross. So in June, my mother just woke me up, come, let's go. I'm making your papers to Canada. I was like, okay, fine. We paid. I had to do, since I'm in a French zone in Quebec, I
Mm-hmm.
had to write a French test. They call it nah, I don't remember. I want to say TOEFL, but that's English. But the Francophone have their own test because here they treasure French. They literally treasure it. So you have to write a French test before and have a certain score for your school to accept you. Or if not, when you come here, you're literally going to start French like you're a child, from zero, stage zero. So I had to write that test and
How
pass.
old were you at the time?
Then I was 19. Wait, 21, 2013, 14, 15, 16, 17,
Are you
18,
using, are you using your fingers on your toes?
yeah, I'm using my fingers to count.
That's the thing I do.
Oh God, no, but it's crazy. I think I was 19, honestly,
Okay.
because I'm 25 now. Yeah, so I was 19.
Wow.
And then honestly, it's been a journey. When I look back, who I am before and who I was before and who I am now, I know, il y a une grosse différence.
That's the part I'm
So,
actually interested in because when I started reading your blog and seeing what you're doing even now, the poems you're putting on YouTube and everything,
mhm.
first of all, you're still, it's like you're climbing on this journey and you're not even there yet, but I can see the
Exactly.
difference where you were and then where you are right now. And
Yeah.
I'm really interested in finding out what changed when you moved. What?
I'll get to that point. Like it's interesting. It's very interesting. So June we started making our papers. Everything like in 2 months time, everything went on smoothly, and I was traveling. Like I traveled in August. So from June, July, I traveled on the 7th of August, and I reached here on the 8th of August. In 2 months time, like we did my papers, went got my visa and the tickets. And gosh, when I look at it, and I'm like, wait, now God really had His hand on me, because no, people literally start and it can take them a whole year. My
It took
mind
you
in 2 months, I was done. When I
that
got
was
here, the first thing that was kind of challenging is their French. Their French is very different from ours. I don't know how to explain it, but if you look for any Quebecois channel and you
Mhm.
hear the way they talk, and it's just off, it's out of this world. But
Is it the intonation or the vocabulary? Like, is it
both
oh,
of them,
I
both
think
of them,
I hear somebody like Garu speak, like the way the intonation.
yeah.
Yes, that is like typical, I guess, typical Canadian accent.
I can say, but his own is even less, because he had time to maybe live in France or Paris. So he had time to actually live with the French, so his vocabulary changed with time. But pure Québécois, no, 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 no. Like normally, this when you meet like a French guy, tu vas dire comment ça va or comment tu vas, right? Here
Mhm.
is ça va-tu, and it's like tu vas-tu bien? They like they call they double. I don't know how to say, but no, it's crazy. So yeah, that was my main shock. Yeah, I had to just like get used, and they curse a lot.
Oh,
The way Americans have their own curses. Their
yeah,
own cursing here is using religious words like the tabernacle and Christ. They usually curse like that in French, so you can even imagine. It's just something else. It's a whole experience.
okay.
When I got here, I started school. I think I started school immediately because autumn session starts in August and ends in December. So I came on the 8th. I think my school was starting like 20th of August. So I just had like 2 weeks to just visit and just take time before I started school. And I did computer science. First year was really good because was good for me. It was okay. Second year, not so much because I got at a point where I lost myself. I didn't know. I didn't feel like what I was doing was actually what I needed to do. And I got into a conflict with family. I was like, you know what? This is not me. I don't want to do computer. Like I've always been I don't want to say a science person, but someone who's been in touch with humans. I always have this very touchy feeling with people. I connect with people a lot. So when I said, okay, you know what, can I? Because when I first of all started, my sister called me and she was like, "What do you want to do?" I said, "Pharmacy." Or I first of all wanted to study dermatology to understand the human skin and all of that and all of that. Then she was like, "Nah, pharmacy does not pay." I'm like, "Wait, pharmacy does not pay in Canada? How come?" Then I was like, dermatologist was like, nah, not to. Then she was like, do computer because it's never going to end, it's just an everlasting cycle. You can never lose a job. Even if you lose a job, I mean, you can never lack work in computer. I was like, okay, for me, it's computer. I mean, it's just math or maybe the computer is nothing complicated. The second year, it really got tough, and I felt like this was not where I belong. And I tried explaining that to my family and asking if I could switch and everything because I got a scholarship. So my studies were basically paid for the 3 years. And I wanted to see if I could change. Would the scholarship still apply or would I lose everything? But I wasn't even caring because I was at a stage where I was willing to work my ass off during the summer if I have to pay my studies, doing something that I want.
Mhm.
So, but it was 2016 for me was a very depressing year. And I know depression is a very strong word because most people nowadays, when they're just sad, I'm like, oh, I'm depressed now. For you to, first of all, admit that you were depressed is a huge step because when you look back, you can be very ashamed of what you were going through. And it's not something you're very proud of because you have so many emotions going through your head. you're losing yourself. You don't know what you want or what to do, or even if you know, you don't know how to go about it. 2016 for me was that year where I fought some real battles with myself and with my family. And I think it's in 2016 that I actually started my blog. Firstly, when I started that blog, it was just to rant. I was angry with the world, with myself. So I wanted a platform where I'll just express myself freely, and I did not care who will really or what would the person say. I just wanted to lash out. Every time I grew, because I've always been someone who writes ever since I'm a kid. I've always had diaries, and poetry for me has always been a part of me. In secondary school, I had friends who come to me and be like, "Hey, Sammy, I have a friend's birthday. Can you write us a word for the person?" And what I write, it'd be as if I know the person. Like it feel so personal and emotional and all of that. So
What
poetry or writing has always been a part of me. Yes.
why do you think that has always been something for you?
Um. To be honest, I feel like I always wanted, maybe because I didn't really have someone to talk to, so I had to find a safe space for me where I could be myself and I truly say what I am, who I am. Because to be honest, to have an honest and raw conversation with an African parent is very difficult because they don't really believe in emotions. I mean, like it's very hard for a parent to say I love you, you know that. So for them showing emotion, it's not their love language or whatsoever. They don't know how it happens. So if a child really comes and be like, I'm not fine, they can just be like, pray about it or now it's going to pass. There isn't really a chance to be vulnerable or to allow for just pure honesty. So I feel like just because I couldn't really, and at a point, my younger ones were still very small, so they really couldn't understand what was happening. And so I guess I couldn't really talk to my parents. So I guess I found the joy in writing. So I started writing how I felt, letters, poems. And from there, you just talk. Today, I'm better at writing than communicating verbally.
Sounds like a very cool side effect of practicing something for a long time.
Cool and not so cool too, because now I have to learn how to talk to people. So yeah.
Yeah. And how did that conversation go with your family
Uh,
about doing what you really wanted to do, where you were in a place where you didn't like what they were suggesting that you should do, and then you had to find a way to tell them? How did that eventually end up?
they were in denial, if I can say that, because they're like, look, we've already sacrificed everything for you. Right now, you cannot tell us you want to leave what you're doing with a full paid scholarship and tell us that you want to change so that we should start looking for money to pay for your school fees. That's why for them it was selfish, because I have younger ones and I cannot just wake up one morning and tell them I want to change. That means they have to look for money to pay for my school fees. They have to start taking care of me. And they felt like I was at a stage in my life where I could literally take care of myself.
A word from our sponsor. Without the people who have donated on Patreon, I would not be able to pay for SoundCloud. And by people, I mean Nia Chek, Eunice Brownlee, Elena Tucker, Mafo Glory, Danny Mazer, Tien Kwe, Helen Day, Biasim Kisang, and Terence Dime. I'm so grateful to them for pledging their support for my work, and not just with shares and likes, which by the way are great too, but with money. I've spent 1 year in the US and my money story has really been transformed. I had to unsubscribe from a bunch of platforms, shut down my personal website, and now I'm moving the podcast to YouTube. I just got my first job and my small family still has a lot of monthly expenses. All this to say that I need your help. If you've listened this far, I think you find value in this and you've been thinking about how you could help me out here. So, here's how. Patreon.com/Kamga Tchassa. Check Eunice, Elena, Glory, Danny, T, Helen, Biasin, and Terence have all pledged a total of $75, and that is a lot. If you decided to add just $5 per month, that would mean the world to me. I want to create for a living, and this podcast is a testament of that drive. I source guests, record, edit, make the artwork, write descriptions all by myself, and I need to make it sustainable. By the way, we all have bills, and you don't have to get into debt to help me out. No, just your attention is already a lot, and anything you give, it means way more than the amount itself. If you choose to give to me through Patreon, head on to patreon.com/Kamga Tchassa. That's patreon.com/KAMGATCHASSA. You can pick from the slots available that start from $1, or you can even give a one-time donation. Whatever amount you pick or choose to give, that amount will be deducted automatically from your account each month, and after Patreon removes its fees, I get the rest. If you have any questions or suggestions, you know how to get to me. That's enough Patreon talk. Let's get back into the episode.
So they were like, "You're in Canada. We don't honestly know how it's going. It's going there. Like, certainly with your sister, you know." And my sister is a kind of like an African parent. She's very strict and no, just finish. Don't get in your feelings. Like, forget how you feel. You have to think about your future because your passion will not pay bills and all of that, blah blah blah. And I was just like, at that point, honestly, there's nothing you can do because you're living under somebody's roof. You're not really that independent. You don't have a stable job, so it's like you don't have a choice than to succumb. So I had to forget about myself and just do these things so that it could make them happy for now. And they usually used to remind me and they said, Sammy, you know what, just finish it so that at least have your degree. Then after then you can do whatever you want. But I'm like, I'll be miserable for 2 years or 3 years. And then after that I can do anything I want. Like, what's the point? Like, I will really lose myself for 3 whole years. And then I'll come out still feeling very empty. Will I have the courage to actually step out and do what I really want? So it was tough because I felt like, yeah, the word selfish came up a lot of times. Like, you only think of yourself, you're selfish. Like, you've come to Europe and you see the way whites live and you want to adapt their mentality. No, 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 no. You have to think about others. You have younger ones, think of the future and all of that stuff. And it was very frustrating. So I had to, I just had to swallow my pride, or I don't know, just swallow my feelings and just keep up with it. So it got to a point where I had to renew my papers because they give you, if you come in to study 3 years, then they give you a visa that is valid for 3 years, a study permit that is valid for 3 years. And so, because I was really frustrated, I wasn't even concentrating in school, and I was really going through this very dark period. I failed some courses, so I was pushed a year forward. Like, I was retarded by another year, so I had to renew my papers. When it came to renewing the papers, now they dragged me. It was from one excuse to another, and it got to a point where I lost my status as an international student. And they gave me a period of 6 months that if I don't get like any paper, be it visitation visa, then I will leave Canada. So I got to a point where I was about to be sent back home. Gosh, when did this happen? That was 2018. This happened when I was in my third year and I was at my last session. Like, I literally had one semester. Then during the winter, I was supposed to do my internship. So during the fall season, it falls on me, and I'm like, gosh, I had only written like the first set of exams. I was done. Literally, I was done. And then the paper issue fell, and I had to stop schooling. I said, this is not happening. So 2018, I didn't go to school. From October till August, I didn't go to school. I had to start the process all over again as if I was just about to enter Canada. I had to ask, this time I had to ask for a visitation visa. It stays 6 months. But when you get that, at least you can like extend by saying you want to study. So you can apply now for a study visa, and then you can fall back as an international student. So I had to do that all over again. Luckily, by August, I got everything I needed. So August started, and I said, you know what, God, this I cannot do this again. This is my last step. So I just gave my all. I finished. I passed all my courses, and then winter started, and I was doing my internship. Then I finished school, and here I am.
Wow.
So studies that were supposed to take me 3 years took me 6. Yeah.
Looks like I wanted to say welcome to the club, but it's not exactly a club to welcome anybody to.
No,
Yeah.
it's not fun. It's not. It's not fun.
Yeah. How I wonder how you were able to handle it. Like when you look back now, is there
Hmm.
anything that you wish you have done or that somebody would have said? Like how are things now? When they say hindsight is 2020. Like you can look back and then see something and be like, I didn't
Yeah.
know that. So what do you look back to this couple of years and look back and wonder like, okay, maybe I should have done this differently, or if this had happened, things would have been different. Or yeah.
Hmm. I think during that period where during my depression period, I think if I had spoken, anyways, I spoke to family, but since family have a certain mentality, it's like you started something, finish it. Like it's like we don't care what happens in the middle, just finish it. It's like you don't have the right to change or whatsoever. So I really, and when that happened to me, I shut myself out. Like I think I left all my social media for 6 months or so. I didn't speak to anybody. I was by myself. So I feel like I accumulated a lot of dark thoughts. Like I didn't want to live. I literally didn't have the energy in me to wake up in the morning and go to work and do something. I was completely lost. So I feel like if maybe I had opened up to somebody, if I had a support group, I have like, yeah, maybe one or two people like who knew exactly what happened. But even after I told them that, there was still like a very barrier put. Like I still shut myself out because I just really felt alone. I feel like I should have opened up more, and maybe I should have just accepted the situation, because there's one thing about moving on. If you don't accept your situation at a certain stage, there's no way you can find solutions to better yourself. If I said, okay, this is my life right now, maybe I'm stuck in this, I should just, like they said, just finish it and get out of it. If I had just like literally like just focused and just finished it, maybe I would have finished this thing in 4 years, because I was adamant and I really wanted to prove a point. And I fought for a year or two or even 3. I constantly fought trying to prove myself, and it just drained me. But it was just recently when I left the family house and I got my appointment that when I sit and I'm like, wait, Samuela, like you've changed. Like, who are you? It's like this whole 5 years that I was living with family, I had to act a certain way, be a certain way, do certain things to be able to fit in, and be accepted or loved or appreciated, so that there shouldn't be any reprimands and say, I know you're a stubborn kind of girl or whatsoever.
Do
So I
you
felt like I had to.
do you think that that's something that many people do? And what are some of those examples of changes that people use that you see like in others, maybe observing like, this person acts differently around family, differently in their real self. Like,
Mhm.
do you think that's something that many people do, and why do you think that that happens?
Yes, I feel like they say you're somebody else with your family, and when you're with your friends, you're somebody else. Because I feel like with friendship or outside of the family area, we can really be ourselves. There aren't a lot of judgments, like especially if you're around the right people. You meet so many people like from different cultures that there's so many varieties and there's so many diversities of people, and you feel like you have the right to try new things, like to actually discover who you are. Whereas in family, it's like you're a Christian, you have to do this, and don't do this. If you do this, then you're seen as a bad person. Like, so it feels like you're put in a box actually, and you have to stay in that particular box if you want to be loved or like felt or appreciated as a child. Like that's why when certain people cross a limit, I don't know, if a parent like maybe finds out that a child drinks or maybe she got a tattoo, she can be like, my God, they can literally disown a child just because maybe she just tried something. So I feel like with family, it's it's a closed mentality. There's not space to just like be open minded and just be free and willing to understand. It's not that understanding part. that maybe will come from different generations, and the way you guys were before, it's not the way we are today, and it's not the way maybe my kids are going to be tomorrow. So I just feel like, yes, I know many people who, when they're with family, is like, oh no, quiet, calm, respectful, but when they're with friends, not like they are the rough kind of people, or people that just do things out of place, but it's like they can actually live freely. And yeah.
Yeah, I can see an image of what you mean. Even it's I mean, but yeah. I wonder how this aspect of your family affected your writing. Like, is there any relationship
um,
between the struggles that you went through and
yes,
creative ventures?
yes. I myself, I feel like I don't have boundaries. Maybe I should have boundaries. But when it comes to my writing, I'm very, very, very honest. I don't put filters. And my writing, people always tell me, it comes from from a very raw place. And sometimes when I write, people are like, wait, Sammy, have you had the time to actually like talk to your parents about this? Like what you're writing, like, have you spoken to them? Because you're putting out some really deep aspects of your life and stuff. Um, yes, oh my God, there's so many things that have affected me today and made and shaped me to the person that I am. The fact that we couldn't really talk made me like the kind of reserved person. So I kept a lot of things to myself, a lot of struggles, a lot of dreams, ideas. And even when I tried expressing that, from it always felt like it wasn't enough, or what I felt was stupid. You know that feeling when you come excited, not just like a child, like can come excited towards a parent, like mommy, 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 see the drawing I've made, and she's like, I must have like just go away. That feeling of like your heart literally breaks, like it falls into your stomach, like wow, like so like what I'm doing is not enough, or it's not okay, or it's useless.
Yeah.
So I felt that way a lot. And there was a point where I wrote I've forgotten the title, but I wrote something on Medium in Selfish, and it was like, Mom, Dad, I have a confession I have to make. I'm not the child you think you know. I have secrets, and there are certain things I don't speak about. Um,
Is it the one, the 10 things I wish to tell my mom?
no, I wrote something deeper than that.
Okay.
I literally wrote something deeper than that. No, no, no. When people wrote it, they were like, Jesus, I mean, like, somebody actually texted me. I'm like, Sammy, have you had the time to talk to your parents? And I'm like, no, really. The person was like, is that really how you feel? I said, yeah. They
So
actually encouraged me to talk to my parents. I was like, maybe when I'll go to Cameroon this December, I will talk to them.
I wonder
But
why
honestly.
it's a whole generational thing. Like, I've been lucky with my parents. I mean, they're not perfect,
Mhm.
but they're not exactly typical African parents. And I've had my own struggles with school, with life, careers, like, but
Mhm.
like at some point you get to a place where you realize that, I don't know about you, but I feel sometimes that maybe some conversations will just never happen. And
No, yeah, I feel like that too.
yeah.
Yes. Oh gosh. So let me just this was okay, this was a title. I said the daughter you always wanted, a letter to my parents.
Mhm.
Hi mom, hi dad. I have a confession. I don't want to be a doctor or an engineer or anything you expected me to be. Are you mad at me? Lately, I've been dealing with anxiety, wondering how I'll ever spark this conversation on how to set my life in the right direction. But each time this sudden fear grips me, I feel like I'm suffocating. I dread the day I tell you my secrets and dreams. Will you understand me? And I go like, I've been living in the shadows of your decisions. It's like you chose this life for me, almost as if I'm living the dreams you never got the chance to achieve. But what about me? Do I have a say, or do I just comply as one of your children's obligations to love and honor your parents no matter the situation, even to my own detriment? Is living supposed to be a punishment? And if I stood for myself, even if that means going against you, will you support me? So I feel like I wrote this exactly because I actually wrote it after my period of depression. So I wrote it like literally this year. And I don't even know what the prompt was on that week, but I had to write something. And the idea just came to me, and I was like, oh wow, this is actually something I've always had on my heart. Like honestly, I feel like I'm living a life you chose for me, because my dreams and my aspirations, even when I had the courage to express them, it was shun away. Like it was ridiculed. Like, nah, that's just a passion. You can't live off that. I didn't even mean to actually make a career out of it, but that was something I wanted to do. Like, I can't just live a 9 to 5 life and without having anything that like feeds my soul, something that truly defines who I am. So, what about me? Like, do I just live this life? And I know if I stand up for myself, they'll be like, "Oh, you're disrespectful. You don't respect your parents. Like, honor your parents, your mother, your father, and stuff like that." So it was like like I even need to go to therapy because I feel like I'm healing from I have healing to do from for things that were unsaid apologies, mistakes, and to forgive myself and all of that stuff. So it was really deep. It was a deep poem. I myself when I read it, I'm like, oh damn, I have to have this conversation though.
You talk about it now. I'm actually having chills as I'm sitting here. I'm thinking about it.
Mm,
You said something about these dreams, and I look at my own story. I look at my own siblings and my
mm,
sister. So I'm like, what you're talking about, I think these are things that a lot of African kids, especially, well, I say millennials, this generation
mhm,
that was born in the internet and has been able to spread their wings across the world. There are
mm,
things that disconnect between us and our parents.
yeah.
And you leaving your apartment, finishing this degree, the reason why I was hoping to get this conversation because I feel this strength that you've developed, and I wonder if
Mhm,
if you're talking to yourself 6 years ago,
mhm.
what are some of the things that you would say to yourself in this? Looking back now with everything that has happened, both with family and jobs, and especially you said something about them crushing your dreams and not wanting you to do what you want to do, even though you don't want to
Yeah.
make a living from it. So
Mhm.
basically, I want you to advise me.
um you said if I have to like try to answer the question you asked, is it possible to actually live a life as a creative?
Yeah,
If I have to answer that question, my first question, like if I ask you, but my first question is going to be, what is your why? Like, why are you doing what you're doing? Is it because I don't know, there's just this fire in you that needs to be expressed, or do you need it for validation? Because I feel like when I look at certain creatives, they easily give up. Why? Because when they put out stuff and they don't like get the traction they expected, they're like, okay, maybe this is not what I'm supposed to do. But I'm like, no, what is your why? Why are you really doing that? Are you just doing it for people to have likes, people to like you, or because you just know this is what you're supposed to do? And that's why I finally started my channel, because many people, I don't know, when they start channels, it's either like makeup or I don't know, lifestyle, beauty or whatsoever. But I've always been the person that I have some real deep conversation with my friends. And I'm blessed they confide in me and they open up to me, and I'm able to, talk to them or relate with them. So it puts me in a position where I just have this sort of wisdom, if I can say, to be able to talk to people in a particular way for them to encourage them, if I can put it that way. So when I started my channel, I was like, you know what, I want to speak on some difficult topics like mental health, be it depression, or just love and relationships, and how we millennials deal with it. Because I feel like we as a generation, we have a lot of ideas. We are mad creative. When I look at some of my friends and people who are today, they decide to like do designing or just music or writing. I'm like, we have a lot of creative ideas. But because our parents grew with the mentality that the paying jobs you have to be a doctor, an engineer, or a lawyer or whatsoever, they shun the arts a lot. And I'm like, nowadays the arts is what keeps this world going, because yes, science is good, but even behind the science there's an artist part of it in the back. So for me, what changed, and if I have to encourage someone, I'm like, don't like listen to that voice within you, because I have hidden for myself this past 6 years. Like honestly, 2019 is the year that I actually know who I am. if you ask me who I was like 6 years ago, I'll be like, I was pleasing people a lot. I needed validation from them, and I honestly didn't even know who I am, you know. And like I commented in your under your video, like today, I was like, people neglect the aspect of self-awareness, because once you know who you give the opportunity for people to treat you the way you're supposed to, and you know what to allow and what not to allow. So simply because I didn't know who I was, or I wasn't even really grounded, maybe I had an idea of who I was, but I wasn't convinced, like my confidence wasn't like strong. I i went down, like I just allowed myself to be used and to be trampled upon. So my advice is, you have a voice and use it. Yes, there is an aspect of respect. We have to respect our elders, and we have to honor family and those who have helped us be able to come here abroad and have all these opportunities. But um I don't want to say education is not everything, but
When you
you
like school education or you can
yeah,
I
yeah, like
in
yeah,
life.
school education.
Okay.
School education is not everything, and like I always say, you need something outside of your job, because it can be draining, you know. You need purpose, I'll put it that way. You need purpose, because just waking up one day and going to work just because you have to pay bills and put food on the table, it's going to drain you. So you need purpose. So if you have that little voice in you that tells you to try something, don't be afraid to. Because I stepped out, and today I started my channel. I go out, like God, I'm creative. Like I'm just creating. I'm just full of energy, because I feel like now the child in me has awakened, and I can be myself, you know.
Yeah.
So yes.
I, when you say this, I cannot help but feel the same feeling of enthusiasm towards the things that I do because I'm
Mhm.
podcast writing and everything, and I want to do it for the rest of my life. But it's not
Mhm.
something I've always thought. Like it's always been there hanging somewhere. You will do something, somebody will say, "Oh, this is great. You should think of doing this deeper." But
Mhm.
they take time. They take growth and patience, and like you said,
Mhm.
self-awareness. And I'm wondering for somebody who is in Cameroon right now, like forget
Mhm.
somebody who is listening to this in Cameroon. Who, by the way, thank you for listening to this in Cameroon. And they're wondering, they say, yes, I know I'll have this fire in me. I want to
Yeah.
create and I also want to be happy. And
Yeah.
times are hard. Maybe you're in Boya and crisis is happening. You're in your own day, things are difficult.
Mhm.
What would you say to someone who wants to add more creativity in their life, where they are right now, say in Cameroon or anywhere else?
I feel like they shouldn't be scared to try something.
So let me rephrase my question. If you had to
Okay.
give like 3 steps, like okay, you've had this podcast, you listen to this cool lady. I think you're a very cool lady, by the way, who went through all these difficult things,
Mhm.
travel, has all these feelings of responsibility. Because I think firstborn children in Africa, like I'm a firstborn
Mm.
son, before I had to remove a
Yeah.
firstborn child, that was a whole thing. Sometimes now I do things and I catch myself in the process like, oh wait, why am I thinking like this? I'm not the parent to my siblings. I'm
Exactly.
so, yeah, I wonder what you would advise someone like step one, do this, step two. Let's make it as simple as possible, in the self improvement era
Mhm.
style.
Okay. So considering everything I went through, my first step was forgiving myself, because yeah, because when I look back, I saw the mistakes I made and the fact that I allowed certain things to happen. Like I carried that shame and guilt around, you know, and I felt like I didn't deserve another chance, or you know, I was just maybe stupid or ignorant or just foolish. You know, when you're so hard on yourself that it literally puts you on a stop. You can't see further, because you feel like since you allowed that to happen, you can't move past that. So for me, truly, I had to forgive myself for that, because I am human, and I had to accept that it happened. I had to learn from those mistakes and from my experiences and be like, that's why I tell people sometimes be selfish. And people hate the word selfish. Selfish does not mean like literally putting everybody aside and just thinking about you. Sometimes you have to be selfish because you need to protect your mental health and you need to create boundaries to be like, okay, that this is overwhelming. I need to take time for myself and heal and just refresh and to be able to actually know what's happening to me. So forgive first of all, if you have gone through stuff, be it family wise or I don't know, life is hard or whatsoever, don't be hard on yourself. Forgive yourself. Then to give yourself another chance. Because I feel like um we almost feel like we need to have it all together before we start something. Like maybe I don't know, somebody wants to start a YouTube channel has to say, "Oh, I have to get a camera, I have to get a lightning, or I have to find something somewhere cool to film or whatsoever." Sometimes with just a phone, you can do great things if you have an iPhone. Like you have iMovie where you can edit and all of that stuff. So after you've forgiven yourself, allow yourself to move on. Give yourself another chance to grow, and don't be scared to start. And when you do that, um, just breathe and just explore. And honestly, because once for me, forgive yourself because you can spend your years or trying to forgive others, but if you're stuck in your own self, your own ideas and thoughts and the way you feel, even if everywhere around you is clean, if your inside is still like heavy and dirty, you're not going to move on. So forgive yourself, give yourself another chance to move on and create chances for yourself, and then I don't know, things will honestly fall in place for you. That's what I did. I had to say, you know what, Sammy, it's fine. It happened, it's okay. Forgive yourself, forgive your family members. They at the end of the day, what they do is out of love, because you love the way you've been loved, and if they did certain things, that's how they were taught in their generation. So and if maybe they were hurt, they say hurt people, so that's so true. And if they didn't have any opportunity to actually know how to love people or how to communicate, it's going to be hard for them to just start. It's going to take a process. So forgive and just try your best to be true to yourself. Be
Okay.
true to yourself, no matter what. Because it doesn't matter. You don't need everybody's validation. If you can affect just one, honestly, I think you are one of the people who like kept me writing, because we connect on a very creative way, because the way we think alike, and we
Yes.
almost share the same ideas. So you alone, you call me special one, and that alone like kept me pushing. Like know your why, and as long as there's just this one person that believes in you, you can honestly do great things.
Oh, thank
So
you very much. I know. I don't know
yeah.
how the name came up, but as soon as it came out, I was like, "This is your name, and this is how it's going to be."
Yes.
um, if I feel like there's a lot to unpack, and I know
Mm,
this whole everything that we're talking about is just even grazing the surface of what has happened,
mhm, mhm.
and I'm sure that we'll have to return. Probably you'll come again on the podcast to talk about a bunch of things, but I feel like there's already a lot to be taken away from this particular conversation. So we're going to move into much more relaxed. I'm sure somebody listening right now will be like, "Why is your life so sad?"
No, my life is not sad.
When it comes from a place of somebody who has gone through a lot, and
Yes,
you sound a lot a lot more introspective and reflective. Like, okay,
yes, I
yeah,
do
this
that
is
a lot because honestly, I have to. You have to sometimes just take a step back and look at what everything happened and pinpoint what you did wrong to be able to change, because you have to also change your mentality, your perspective about life. Sometimes it's not always somebody else's fault. Sometimes it's you. You have to
mm,
also change yourself and grow through that. So I always, that's why when people talk to me, I know exactly. If you ask me a question, I can give you an answer. I can tell you what I did wrong, if someone else did wrong. And from that, it just really keeps me grounded. Because people can spend their life being like, nah, it's their fault. No, it's also your fault because, yes, they can do certain things, but you allow that. So that's just the truth.
you make some very powerful statements. In fact, I hope your book will be coming out soon. Don't be like me and take forever to able to
Oh my gosh.
collect this thought in one area. So, talking about before we go to the books, Are there some people in your life, whether it's family, friends, people who have been like mentors on your journey, who showed up maybe at the right time, said like the right thing,
Mm.
the right quotes? Any people who said things that made you look at the world differently?
Um, okay, well, really? I'll say my younger brother because my younger brother is here with me too.
Okay.
And he always told me, Sammy, you know what? Don't worry about what people say. People always have an opinion about the way you live your life and what they think you should do with your life and all of that stuff. Don't worry about that. As long as you're at peace with yourself, nothing else matters. You have to, at a point, you have to think about yourself. You have to do something that fuels your soul, something that keeps you happy. So my brother, in a way, keeps me very grounded. We joke a lot, we play a lot. Like, he has wise things when he wants to. And he's one of the reasons why, even when I was going through dark phases, he always brought me back to the light. He literally take care of me like a baby. Like, he really took care of me like I was a baby, made sure I ate, made sure I was fine. Like, you would take me out, let's just go and walk. My younger brother. So he plays and he still plays a very key role in my life today. So there is him. And with the years I really got reconnected with God. So I would say there are a lot of my faith grew stronger. So I would say even today, even if I have to like hit a stumbling block, I have to just remind myself that I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. And I just have some key Bible verses that just keep me pushing. Like, I'm the head, I know the tail. And as long as I just keep connected to God, I'll be fine.
Mhm.
So my younger brother, God, and yes, like I do have some real friends around me, friends who are able to tell me the truth when I'm in the wrong and actually take care of me when I'm not feeling fine. So Gael, Nasima, Pusheri, um, this is really people. If I don't call somebody's name now, they'll be like, someone else is not call my name.
Yeah, it's like those birthday cards. When people come and comment on your birthday and you start thanking people, like, yeah, I'm
I'm
happy birthday.
telling you.
Like,
Yeah.
this is not personal.
No, it's not personal. No, it's not. Please, I beg. Be cool. Don't fight me.
Yes, let's hide them by switching to. I feel like in this is 2019 and
Mhm.
we're talking now. I mean, the US, you're in Canada. We're using the internet to have this conversation, and I
Yeah.
wonder if there were some people that you found that you've never met,
Mm-hmm.
and they were able to impact your life in a way that they'll probably never even know. But you're very grateful that because of it.
Mm-hmm.
Who are some of those people for you?
Uh, the people who have actually impacted me are like, it's mostly my creative side, like the writers of Selfish. Ameaka.
Yama-
Is it Ameaka? Is it Ameaka?
Yes, Amiaka.
Okay, because I want to say Amaka, but I know this an E.
No, it's Amiaka.
Ameaka, yes. Margaret. Now,
Yeah.
like, first of all, those two people, Margaret was the prime. I met Margaret before meeting Fatima. So
Mhm.
Margaret is someone with whom I can literally text and be like, "Hey, girl, what's up?" I need to talk, and I open up to her, and then we relate a lot because she too writes from a deep place. Same thing with Fatima. When I write, she's in the comment section shouting and crying. When she writes, I'm in the comment section shouting and crying. So.
What do you
We
think it takes to
understand.
build these kind of relationships?
Sorry.
What do you think it takes to build this kind of relation, this bond across, I don't know, the world? Basically, it's like, what does it take to have these kind of people? Like, do you just pray for God to send them to you, or there's something that we can do? Like, can we have more of those in our lives?
I'll say vulnerability because I know people are like, oh, communication is a key in a relationship and all of that stuff. But the thing that brought even you, it was the fact that we were vulnerable, be it in the way we write or even in the way we spoke, right? We
Mhm.
owned our scars, we owned our mistakes and our experiences, and we learned from them. So being able to share that, you're giving someone access to your life. We are also giving them the opportunity to speak about theirs. So for me, the fact that they could be vulnerable about certain things in their life was like, okay, wow, this is like so brave, courageous. Like she's helping me. The fact that she shared her story, I'm 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 I just want to share mine and just like be a better person, you know. So something like me, I treasure vulnerability a lot, and I'm learning that, I'm practicing that a lot, and I know um you need to be very careful who you're vulnerable with because people can literally use that against you. But
Wow.
I try my best, and
Has it ever happened to you?
for now, no, I don't know. I don't think I've had a bad experience where I'm like, God, I would never open up to somebody again. So no.
All
But
right.
yeah. And I think people should not confuse honesty and being vulnerable because honesty is just the surface level. But if you're capable to go deep on there, then that's when you can be proud of yourself and be like,
Can,
yeah,
can you
I've
give an
opened my
example?
scars.
Can you give an example of, because I like that sentence. It makes sense when I hear it, but I wonder if you can, for someone who is listening, who can be like, wait, what do you mean? Oh, I thought being honest was being vulnerable and telling the truth.
No, no, no. Like, okay, someone, I can be like, okay, why did you, okay, let me try and find something. Let me just say, someone can ask you about your life experiences, right?
Mm-hmm.
You say, okay, I grew up, we were in a family of seven. Maybe we didn't have like enough food or whatsoever. Maybe that's just, you're just being honest about the situation without maybe getting deep inside into the details. But I feel like being vulnerable is like, okay, fine. You can tell me about your life experiences or your family life. You can be like, okay, yes, we were a family of seven. Our parents had to travel, work twice harder to provide because big family and all of that stuff. I'm just telling you what I went through, like my family situation without going into the details. But if I take a step further and be like, okay, and also in my family, maybe, I don't know, I was molested as a child. Now I have taken the concept further, you know. You just asked me about my family and how we lived. I could simply say, yeah, maybe we were poor. And that's okay because maybe my neighbors can like testify that exactly they were poor. But something deeper, like maybe if somebody was like molested as a child, or yeah, her father was beating her mom or something like that. That's
Mm-hmm.
something that just happens inside the family, and he has to take me a lot of courage and to actually deep down to be able to bring back those memories up.
Yeah. So
So,
it almost sounds like vulnerability requires you to be personal and
mhm,
emotional, whereas
yes,
you can be honest and still be just pouring the facts and then just like,
exactly.
okay.
That's just it.
Oh, that's really cool. I really
Mm.
think, I'm sure you have enough collections to make a poem. I seriously, don't be like, I mean, a book, a collection of stories. Don't, yeah, do your book. So, what are you reading right now? Are you, I mean, I'll just,
Mostly poetry. I read mostly poetry.
okay. And which collection would you recommend? Is it a collection or an author or a poetess that you could recommend?
Yes, yes. There is this guy, Malanda Jean Claude.
Okay.
His book is called Because of a Woman.
Hmm. Interesting.
Uh,
Reminds me of
he's a guy, and
Mhm.
he literally, that's being vulnerable. He's not honest. He's being vulnerable. He speaks about how he himself, he wasn't honest as a man.
Mhm.
He misled women, and how he had to learn what true love was about, the fact that he had to bare his soul to a woman. And he also speaks about the aspect of men not feeling ready because they have these obligations and they not actually being honest about it. They're just like, oh no, no, it's not now, it's not time, or I don't have time or whatsoever. But he had all these pressures and he didn't know how to actually communicate with his girl. Let me just say that way. So I feel like
Mhm.
he really brought the aspect of men not not knowing how to truly communicate in a relationship, or being scared to actually communicate and be vulnerable because society says men don't cry, men have to be strong, men hide their feelings and all of that. So that's when that book is so good. It's so good. Then there is this girl called Rena Beji. I
Mm-hmm.
have like two of her books. One is I Love My Love, and the other one is A Psalm for Us. She too, she's very, very vulnerable. She talks about her relationship with her mom and her dad, her parents, how she as a woman, she had to literally sacrifice herself, when you have to give your all just because you need to fill a void. So she too is very open. The fact that about certain things, how we women we can literally be blind and we are ready to give up everything for a guy, even though we know deep down he's not worthy, simply because society also says a woman has to be married at this age or she needs a guy to feel wanted and validated. So for me, yeah, poetry. I like. I don't know why, but maybe because I pick the right authors. But yeah, I have some dope books. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and it's really crazy. I have Ruby Course, Milk and Honey. Yeah, so that's it for me.
So you're definitely this what geek heads and nerve heads, like so you're a poet head basically.
I am a poet, honestly. I always try to look for something that touches my soul, something real. And I know
Yes,
there's
I want to find out, like, do you think vulnerability can be learned?
yes,
How?
yes. Um, First of all, you have to be willing to. You have to be willing to because no, everything is learned in this life. Honestly, everything is learned. It takes time, but it is learned because if you have a partner, right, a
Mm-hmm.
partner who like is I'll say very honest, but someone who like just sits like, hey babe, can we talk? And she constantly like shares with you some of her deep deep
Why do you have to say she? Why don't you think it can also be he sharing with you?
because it's hard, Kamga. It is hard. Gosh,
I-
I don't know if it's just me, but no, it's been hard. But I'm lucky that most of the people I've dated, like they found a safe space in me. So I understand they still have like their fears and all of that stuff. But if they want to open up, they're very free and they open up. So I feel like my relationships, I really didn't have tough guys. Yes, hard guy, but when they needed to be vulnerable, they were. Because they too understood that it takes that connection. It really do takes that connection because you can't just float on surface level and feel like you have to grow deeper connections with your partner. And sometimes it takes you sharing some deep stuff to be able for that person to know what you went through and know your triggers, to be able to not trigger you. So it is learned, and you have to be willing because you can have a partner, yes, that bears her soul or his soul to you. But if you're the person who is still very scared and you don't allow yourself to, it's going to be hard. So it can be learned, but you really have to make that decision or make the effort to want to be vulnerable.
Okay.
Yeah.
I wonder, because of, you're going to Cameroon in December, and yeah, at the beginning
Hopefully.
you talked about how you needed some healing, and you're thinking of,
Mm-hmm.
is it possible for you to dig deeper into that particular aspect of therapy? Because I'm sure you've been out of the country for enough time to even get the opportunity to be a therapist. Something that I discovered that for many Cameroonians, and I don't know about other African countries because I've not
Mm-hmm.
obviously been there, but the idea of therapy often sounds like
It
a
taboo.
like a taboo. Like, yeah, we don't need therapy. And I wonder what
Mm.
you think about that conversation around mental health and therapy right now.
I know it's going to be a very hard step to take. But I know that our generation has a very key strong part to play concerning that. Our parents didn't grow in a space where they had a lot to say. It was like it was a straight part. You see that you're going to med school, you're doing this and that and that and that, and you get married, and you have kids, and you do this. It was like systematic, straight plan, and all of that stuff. And so when it comes to like even depression is a very rough topic or a hard topic because if you say that to an African parent, they can literally say no, you're possessed or say witchcraft or they just tell you to pray about it. But we need more than prayers. And even the Bible says you need a community where you can share your sins, and by sins here I'll say secrets or hurts, so that you know you're not alone and they can help you overcome certain things. So for me, therapy, I don't know if I can actually take my mom or my dad to a psychologist and be like, we need to talk about certain things. I feel like it first of all has to start in the comfort of our homes. And before that, you have to start building them up, to the idea, not just something you catch them off guard and be like, hey, we need to talk today.
How did
So that's
you?
why.
I wonder, how did you build up just for you, like by yourself? Is this something that you always thought like you would do when you get a chance, or did you change your mind at some point? Or
Yeah, I didn't. I was very angry. So for me, having to sit down and talk with my parents is like it's a no because I knew that
no,
they were going to be so stubborn.
not your parents. I mean, for you choosing to go to see a therapist.
Okay, with that, when did he hit me?
Yes. When did you make up
Okay.
your mind that is something that you think you could use to grow?
Um, I think recently.
So what changed before?
Recently.
Like, what was your point of view around the idea of therapy before the switch? I don't think it's even just like a gradual, change.
Yeah, but I was never against it. But I think I was just in denial that I needed it. Or I just felt like I'll act as my own therapist, because I'm already used to being a therapist to my friends. I felt like I could just I don't know.
Therapeutize.
Yeah, thank you.
It's not even good. It's actually better.
I was looking for the word. I don't know how to conjugate it. I just therapeutize myself.
If you remember
But
the word, look for a dictionary. Not this podcast.
so I think it was of recent. I said, yes, I'm already very self-aware. And I know some of the things I did was from a place where I was seeking validation and I needed the opinion and love of others to feel like I belonged or that I was someone. And I know it comes from a deeper place than that. Like it took me to really sit down. Like I said, for me the aspect of self-awareness and self introspection is very important, because you don't you as long as you keep lying to yourself, there's certain things you cannot break in your life. So I had to reach to a point where you know that, Sammy, this is you, this is what you've gone through, and some things were broken, some things were said that you need to unsay, some things you learned that you need to unlearn. And sometimes you cannot do it alone. Maybe you have to meet someone who's done psychology. That's why I wanted to study psychology too, because I wanted to do that. I wanted to be a therapist in the future if I still get the opportunity today. It passionates me a lot, and I already have a basic uh, knowledge of how human function and why maybe people can do certain things. So for me, I feel like therapy is something I have to pursue. But I had to, like, first of all, stop running from myself, stop running from my mistakes and my experiences, and I had to take all of that and understand that, okay, this is actually bigger than me, and I need to see someone who just like with whom I can go through every steps, and who can maybe help me unlock, because I know there are certain things I haven't unlocked and I cannot unlock by myself. So yes, it was really recently, like maybe just this year, with my writing and just actually like finding myself, where there was a place I got out of a place where I could finally say no without feeling like, oh, if I say no, they're not going to love me. So let me just say yes, like to tame my personality and for them to love me. So I really had to go through the process of breaking certain cycles. And I said, you know what, if I can, if I have the opportunity, then I will go. But first, that I need to have that conversation first with my parents
Okay.
on how my maybe they live, especially my mom. It's my mom, because my dad is a very calm guy. He's a very calm guy, so he doesn't have any problems in his life. He
What do
just
what,
wanted
what do
me.
your parents do for a living?
Um, my dad, il est retraité, so he was a teacher in lycée Demanou. He was a teacher professor.
What
Um,
subject?
mathematics.
Okay.
That's why I'm so good in maths.
Good for you.
I'm like, well,
If the number is more than 10, you've lost me.
eh?
See, I had an E. Math was my lowest grade in advanced level. I had an A in
Yeah.
math,
Oh
yes.
no.
Yeah. And then what about your mom?
No, my mom says she was a professor at Lycée Leclerc. She taught history.
Because both of them professors or teachers.
Yes.
Like, did they meet on campus?
That I don't know how my parents met.
Okay.
That's like you say, we really never really sat and discussed some of this stuff. So yeah.
Okay. Well, that sounds like a pretty interesting love story. Who knows? You might be the one to write their story and become a movie at some point.
Right.
I feel like it's a very beautiful story that has an amazing end anyway. So
Yeah, I do feel that too.
yeah, so let's do now the rapid fire questions of the show. So
Okay.
your favorite movie of all time?
Are you?
Okay, favorite movies, max 3.
Oh Jesus! Do I have favorite movies? That's the question. Like, I'm just someone who just really watches movie and I go on my life.
Okay, well, TV
Like,
shows.
if I say series, I can say Lie to Me. Like I say, I'm
Okay,
someone that I'm very captivated with
so
men,
you say
men like with the
mentally?
psychic and all of that. Yeah. So Lie to Me, I've listened to that thing like literally 3 times, and I
Hmm.
can start listening to it again. There was Gossip Girl for me, like that was a series of the year, and what Lie to Me, Gossip Girl, and I guess that's just it for now.
Okay. Do you play video games?
Yeah. Uh, nope.
So
Nope.
when you're not reading poetry or writing vulnerable stories or connecting with family, what do you do?
Hey, Cody, I'm a very boring girl. Jesus. Oh my God. Nah, I just like walking. I love walks in the park or just by myself alone because I really like my alone time.
Okay.
That's why to allow someone, I'm like, you have to be better than my solitude because I really love to be alone and just to soak myself in. Yeah,
Oh,
I dance and I
okay.
sing a lot.
Oh, interesting.
I
Okay.
sing a lot. It's a curse. Even at work, they know me. So yes, that's just what I do for my pastime.
Any favorite cartoon character?
One Piece. Should I go for Luffy?
Okay.
Then anyway, I'll like the ones that really marked me. It's like
How
Dragon Ball, the whole thing.
would you go for
One
Luffy? Like the
Piece.
obvious question, like, can you not go for somebody else? He's
Like
okay.
who? What? What Zoro? Is he Zoro?
It's okay. Anyway,
The
fine.
guy with the blades.
If you had to go for one, if you had to go for an activity with a fictional character, A, what activity would that be? And B, which character will you go with?
What? Are you? Wow, like the basic questions are hard for me. Jesus. Okay, a
So
cartoon character and an
that's why
activity.
this is just a
Uh,
class activity.
for real. I'm used to like having deep conversations. So when you ask me basic stuff, I'm lost.
I can see that.
Okay, no, okay. I can have an answer for this one. Cartoon. I'll go with Sangoku, and then we'll fly on his nuage magic.
Maybe teenager toddler Sangoku. Okay, well,
Oh god.
that makes sense. Is there anything that I forgot to ask you or that you wanted to talk about that I probably missed? Because I'm sure that I was talking and didn't even asking you the right questions that maybe you had hoped to get
Mm,
asked in the conversation.
no, to be honest, I think we have a lot of stories within us that in one set we really cannot cover all of them. So I feel like maybe if we have the opportunity to come, if I have the opportunity to come here again, we will pick a topic and maybe just really brush through because both our experiences and how we view life and just how we've been throughout the years is a lot for someone to just grasp in a single show. So for now, I feel like you've gone through everything that needed to for a start.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll see what the future holds for us.
All right. And
Yeah.
that I actually want to ask you the final question. You sort of answered a version of it when you were talking, but I
Mm-hmm.
want to, and it can be the thing that would end the conversation with is
Okay.
what do you think it takes to live a happy, full life as a creative?
Hmm. Security in oneself,
Okay.
because as a creative, if you are not grounded in who you are and what you want to be, you can find yourself jumping from one thing to another. And at the end of the day, you actually lose your real potential on purpose. So once you have that security in who you are, what you want, and you have a vision, you're good to go. I feel like you will strive and you will have a you reach a place where you actually feel like you need to reach. So for me, yes, be true to yourself. So for me, yes, security in your identity and who you are. That's my own.
I wonder, I wonder who is wiser, you or your brother, because it sounds like you guys have been sipping from each other's intelligence experiences and
Amen. Amen.
proper response. Where can we
Thank you.
I mean,
I am on Twitter, Jenny Dems, J.
I'll put the links. So
Yeah, I put the link, Jenny Dems.
I'll put the links. Yeah.
Instagram is the same thing. My YouTube channel is Sammy J Speaks. Blog Sammy J too. Yes, Sammy J. Like literally, I'm everywhere in Sammy J.
All right, Sammy, thank you so much for taking the time to do this interview. I feel like I have a lot to dissect. I'll probably return and listen to it and break down things and even use it to write long form blog posts.
Yes.
Thank you. So much.
Thank you very much for having me.
Yo, did you like it? Did you hate it? Something else on your mind? I would love to continue this conversation with you. So head on to iTunes, leave a review, and this is the best part. Take a screenshot of the episode as you listen and tag me at Tchassa Kamga on Instagram. That would be the sweetest gift for me and my guests. Thank you so much for taking your time to listen to this. I appreciate your attention, and I will talk to you next week.